Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
A possible terror attack on U.S. soil averted tonight. Federal agents arrest an Ohio man suspected of plotting an assault on the U.S. Capitol.
Mission accomplished in Yosemite. 2 men conquer the world's most difficult climb, and we have the video of their sky-high celebration.
A scary scene in the suburbs. An alligator is found living in a backyard. Now its owner is facing possible criminal charges. Good evening. I'm Ellen Leyva in for Colleen Sullivan.
And I'm David Ona. Welcome to Eyewitness News at LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And we begin with breaking news right now. This going on in West Hollywood. You're looking at a live picture from Air 7 HD, an accident that happened just a few minutes ago. For what we understand, a pedestrian has been hit by a car in this crosswalk at Doheny and Beverly Drive, once again in West Hollywood. We believe that car in the middle of the crosswalk with the lights on, the emergency lights on, is a car that hit the pedestrian. We understand the pedestrian is a male, but that has not yet been confirmed. You see medical assistance being given to the person on the ground, so the pedestrian apparently is still there. We don't have any more information than that or how badly this person is hurt. Once again, it happened at 6:45 this evening. We're going to stay on top of it, try to get you more information. Other news now, a Cincinnati, Ohio man has been arrested accused of a plot to bomb Washington, D.C. Using an alias, Christopher Lee Cornell posted statements, videos, and other content in support of ISIL and jihad. The FBI says he considered members of Congress to be enemies and planned a pipe bomb and shooting attack in Washington, D.C. Cornell was arrested this morning after buying 2 assault rifles and a huge stock of ammunition. Cornell's father says he is completely surprised.
FBI would not give us any information. They said they had no idea why he was being held, what if he was even charged, or what he was being charged with, where he was, and we still to this now we know. I mean, after they conducted their warrant and their search and took what they were going to take.
Cornell has been charged with attempting to kill officers and employees of the United States. The FBI says the public was never in danger.
Tonight, 2 climbers are celebrating after making history at Yosemite National Park. They reached the 3,000-foot summit of El Capitan after scaling its vertical granite face for the last 18 days. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell shows us that moment of sheer joy when they finally achieved their dream.
A dream fulfilled for 30-year-old Kevin Jorgensen and 36-year-old Tommy Caldwell. The 2 climbers embraced at the peak this afternoon after conquering El Capitan, becoming the first to free climb the 3,000-foot sheer granite wall at Yosemite National Park. Thrilled family members watched as they completed the history-making climb.
It's his impossible dream made possible.
Their grueling journey to the top took 18 days. The free climbers clawed their way up using only their hands and feet, relying on their own strength and dexterity. Ropes and harnesses were used only to prevent deadly falls. They slept in hanging tents. They endured physical punishment when their grip would slip, sending them into tumbles that left them bouncing off the rock face. Their fingers were shredded by razor-sharp fragments of rock. Both men needed to rest days to wait for their skin to heal.
I really want to do this thing.
At one point, Jorgensen struggled while taking on one of the toughest sections.
I was pretty devastated, and thoughts crossed my mind that I should just throw in the towel and support Tommy to the top.
But he didn't give up. After 6 days and 11 attempts, he made it.
When I heard that he made it, it brought, I cried.
Caldwell's nephew summed up the emotions of both families.
It really amazed me, and I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, I thought no one could have done it, but finally, you just did it.
And President Obama tweeted out his congratulations while standing next to a painting of Yosemite at the White House, writing, "You remind us that anything is possible."
Caldwell's mother says her son could have made it to the top days ago, but he waited for his friend to make sure they reached the summit together. Amy Powell, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A Van Nuys neighborhood turns into a wildlife expedition. Animal Control discovered an alligator named Jackson in the backyard of a home. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand explains how Jackson became a family pet and what may now happen to her.
This is Jackson, an 8-foot, 37-year-old alligator that until Monday was living in this Van Nuys backyard. That's when police and Animal Control confiscated her.
I understand now it's not legal, but When it becomes a pet, it becomes your family. When it becomes your family, you're going to protect the pet and the people involved. Sure. That's all there is to it.
Ron's sister Laura was Jackson's owner. Jackson, who is a girl, first joined the family through her late husband, Jim.
It's like losing part of my family and implicitly losing part of Jim. So now I'm lost him, too.
Speaking with neighbors in the area, it was known there was an alligator living nearby, along with many wild cats. Animal authorities believed that the gator was being fed those cats because several dead cats were found nearby. Jackson's owners, however, say while they did feed the cats, they did not feed them to Jackson, who ate nothing but chicken.
Now we lost the alligator, and now they're making statements they shouldn't be making. Yeah. Because nobody's feeding cats to the alligator. We got plenty of money to feed whatever we have to feed, but we ain't feeding it to our alligator.
Not shocked, but I guess a little taken aback that somebody could keep an alligator that long.
These types of reptiles can be very dangerous, obviously, and if anybody is housing an animal like this, we just want residents to know out there that if you have one, we recommend that you do turn the animal in, contact the local zoo, and let them know that you have one.
Jackson is at the LA Zoo tonight under quarantine while they await to see where she's going to go. The owners face several citations, including maintaining a wild animal without proper care and maintenance and without proper permits. They could face further charges as well. Reporting in Van Nuys, Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Leader of Al-Qaeda branch in Yemen is claiming responsibility for last week's deadly attack on a French magazine. The claim was posted online. Al-Qaeda says the attack was vengeance for the magazine lampooning the Prophet Muhammad. 2 gunmen shot and killed 12 people at the publication. The gunmen were later killed by police. French President François Hollande is sending an aircraft carrier to the Middle East as part of a ramped-up effort against terrorism. Meanwhile, the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo has issued its first edition since the attack with a cartoon of Muhammad on the cover.
I went to the newspaper store at 8 in the morning, and they told me that they had only 100 copies, and they sold everything in 15 minutes.
I want my copy. Really, I want my copy.
Charlie Hebdo typically publishes 60,000 copies, and this time around they published 3 million and quickly sold out. The magazine says it plans to publish an additional 5 million.
In Anaheim, the head of CARE Los Angeles met with reporters reacting to the Charlie Hebdo cover showing a caricature of Muhammad, which we have chosen not to show. CARE LA is the Council on American Islamic Relations, Los Angeles.
While the image itself might not be very accurate of how the Prophet looked like, I think many people were pleased to see that the message was conciliatory. The message of forgiveness is something we need at this time. I think this is a true representation and an accurate representation of what the Prophet would have done.
CARE leaders say the magazine was within its rights to publish and express its free speech, and it is also the right of readers to be offended or to accept it.
A model who claims Bill Cosby drugged and sexually abused her has met with LA police. 24-year-old Chloe Goins says the comedian drugged her at the Playboy Mansion in 2008 when she was 18 years old. She says she woke up naked in bed with Cosby licking her toes as he touched himself. Goins spent more than 2 hours speaking with detectives. Then her attorney spoke on her behalf.
Apparently, Mr. Cosby feels brazen enough and confident enough in his actions to make jokes at some of his shows about the 25-plus women that have now come forward. Ms. Goins is certainly not joking.
Goins' attorney says she is within California's statute of limitations, making her the only alleged victim that could pursue criminal charges against Cosby. Cosby has denied all accusations. Eyewitness News reached out to his attorney for comment. We have not heard back.
Tonight, investigators are searching for a suspect who murdered a donut shop clerk last night in South Los Angeles. It happened outside the Louisiana Fried Chicken and Donut Shop on Florence and Broadway. The shop owner's 29-year-old son, Andrew Ong, was stabbed to death during a robbery just before 9:30 p.m. Tonight, loved ones are too devastated to speak.
I love my son very.
I know. But listen.
My son not come back.
Yes, but listen. He's in your heart. He's in your heart. You can remember that, okay?
Police say Ung was stabbed outside the store by a customer who demanded money from a cash register. The suspect is believed to be a man in his 30s wearing a dark hoodie.
Could some wannabe reality stars be punished for their stunt on Venice Beach? A video prank shot in Venice Beach is going viral, which is good news for the pranksters, except that the people they pranked were LAPD officers. And as Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes shows us, the department is not amused.
On the surface, it appears to be four guys trying to push cocaine.
You guys need some coke?
But in reality, it's four guys trying to push their YouTube channel.
The whole idea was to sell coke on the streets, and we have cameras around the car and filming outside, and the reaction was to get a good laugh out of it.
Nico Martinovic and his 3 cohorts create prank videos. They shot this one in Venice, but shortly after they started rolling,
Hey guys.
LAPD officers moved in.
What are you guys doing here? Just done hanging out.
I had a heart attack because I don't know how they initially react, especially in Venice, because there's a lot of problems up there, so we just kind of went with it.
And that is why LAPD officials are so upset, continuing the prank after officers were tipped off about possible drug dealers.
When they're delayed by somebody who's playing a joke, then it's the community out there that's really suffering.
LAPD says not only are these pranks a drain on critical resources, but they're also very dangerous, much like those hoaxes known as swatting.
I shot my mom.
That's when someone calls in a false report of a murder or hostage situation, sending swarms of SWAT officers to the home of an unsuspecting person. The Venice prank, Commander Smith says, is not much different.
Any officer out there is thinking, I got 4 guys in a possible felony situation here, and there's always a potential for something bad to happen.
Fortunately, it didn't. The Coke was actually Coca-Cola. The pranksters were uncuffed and released, but police are looking into possible charges. The Canadian pranksters, though, say they did nothing illegal and are watching hundreds of thousands of views on their YouTube channel rolling in. In downtown L.A., Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
3 people in Ventura County have tested positive for measles. It's the first reported cases there since 2013. And officials say at least one is linked to the Disneyland outbreak. Meanwhile, the LA County Health Department says it will not comment on the Ilsa Tellez of South Pasadena, whose sister is getting over the measles. Ilsa says that she got a call from the CDC and visit from local health officials telling her she needed to quarantine herself and that she could be breaking the law if she failed to do so. She says she has no symptoms.
House Republicans voted to approve legislation to overturn President Obama's key immigration policies and expose hundreds of thousands of younger immigrants to possible expulsion from the U.S. The bill faces an uphill battle in the Senate and a veto threat from President Obama. The vote is part of a broad bill that finances the Department of Homeland Security through the rest of the budget year. Democrats are accusing Republicans of putting that money at risk by attaching amendments on immigration.
What caused a deadly crash involving a Texas prison bus? Bus flew off an icy road and slammed into a train. What investigators are saying tonight.
Plus, the NASCAR superstar who tonight is making the case that his ex was a trained assassin.
And plans for a dream wedding become a nightmare, while a local couple says a tumor wasn't enough for one venue to reschedule their date.
A beautiful day, a warm day, but temperatures only getting warmer. I will tell you where they top off coming up in that 7-day forecast. Stick around.
In West Texas, a bus carrying 12 prisoners skidded off an icy highway and down an embankment before colliding with a passing train below. 8 inmates and 2 corrections officers were killed. 5 others were injured. The bus was transferring inmates between 2 Texas prisons. The train was traveling from Los Angeles to Marion, Arkansas.
A bizarre twist in the family court case between NASCAR superstar Kurt Busch and his ex-girlfriend. Busch in court called his ex a trained assassin who carried out missions all over the world. And ABC's Gio Benitez has the details.
Tonight, as NASCAR superstar Kurt Busch fights allegations of domestic assault, he's waging war on his ex-girlfriend with jaw-dropping claims that 37-year-old Patricia Driscoll is a killer. In court Tuesday, Busch alleged Driscoll was a trained assassin dispatched on covert missions around the world, killing with guns, knives, even poison. That she showed him a photo she took of one of her victims, and that she once walked in wearing an evening gown soaked in blood. Driscoll owns a defense contracting company, Frontline Defense Systems. Her work, featured in this video, now entered into evidence.
I am one of the few women who own and run a defense company. There's a lot of sensitive things that I work on. Most of them you're never going to see.
It's a teaser reel for a reality show that never aired.
My dad taught me how to shoot. I was 5, growing up in West Texas. I really don't care if people hate me for who I am and what I do, because I'm not going to change it.
He's telling them to attack the homeless.
Busch says Driscoll claimed she and another woman were the inspiration for Jessica Chastain's character in Zero Dark 30.
Anything you want to say?
Driscoll's own allegations are serious, saying Busch repeatedly slammed her head against a bedroom wall in September.
Certainly, it's our position that the abuse occurred.
Driscoll calls the assassin allegations ludicrous, telling the Associated Press he took the storyline from a fictional movie script she's been working on that he proofread.
And Busch denies the assault allegations against him, but stands by his allegations of Driscoll's life as an assassin. Meanwhile, no assault charges have been filed. Authorities are still investigating. Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
African safari brings many encounters with wild animals, but in one, visitors got a little bit too close. An enormous hippo surged out of the water during a boat tour in Zambia National Park. Look at that. An African tour company posted the video, which has gone viral. Hippos may look heavy and slow, but they're actually incredibly fast and very aggressive. This hippo appeared to actually be stalking the boat underwater before breaking the surface. The driver of the boat opened the throttle, got away with no harm done. Whew, but what a close call. Massive beast.
I learned a lesson there. How you think hippos, when you see them at the zoo, they're so mellow, they just kind of hang out.
Right, because they're getting paid. But they usually won't work for free like that. That was a free gig, I guess.
Wow.
Very rare.
Maybe they owe him money then.
Yeah, they're probably used to the union better.
Yeah.
Some royalties out of that. Hey, it was nice outside today.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, that's
stunning.
It's stunning. I like that. Well, I wish I had said that now. You took that from us.
You can borrow it, I'm sure. That's a stunning sunset.
I was going to say that.
Got it.
This is why I want to show you this sunset, though. Look at the water in the Pacific, and you see it's pretty still. Yesterday, we had a shot from Malibu, and it was actually moving offshore with some gustier conditions. Today, the winds were on the calmer side. As you went through the afternoon and evening, at least. The mountains saw some gusts, but otherwise it was beautiful, fantastic. 73 for a high in January. Normally we're at 68 in downtown, so you can't beat that. And as a result, we have a mild evening tonight. Temperatures are in the lower 60s in downtown and other places like Burbank and Santa Monica, or the upper 50s, maybe a little bit cooler in Oxnard and Ojai, where it's around 58. High pressure is the weather maker, and that will be the case for most of the forecast. What does that mean? It means mild weather to warm weather. In fact, as that high basically sits over the area through the weekend, we will see some weak offshore winds, and those winds will warm us up into the upper 70s in some spots. That is way above average, and you see that here in the future scan, that high doesn't really move too much. It's pretty much over the western United States for tomorrow and even into Friday and the weekend. Now, later in the game, we start bringing in some moisture with an onshore flow, but that's not until after Sunday pretty much. And that will cool us down, but we're not looking at anything cold, nothing too drastic in the forecast. It is looking like this, just what was it, stunning? Stunning. There, see? I got it in there. Lower 70s in the IE tomorrow and the mid-70s in Los Angeles, 76 Anaheim. Look at the 7-day forecast for LA, Metro, and Orange County, and you will see a slow but steady warming trend as we go through the weekend. We're going to top off at 77 on Sunday. No rain, no clouds, just pleasant, sunny weather. It's not winter. It doesn't feel like winter. Valley's IE, just the same for you. Warm stuff. I would say 78. We're getting close to hot at that point with sunny skies. You see a few clouds here late in the forecast and a little bit cooler, but even that is above average. The beach, two thumbs up, just sunny skies and lower 70s throughout until next week. We'll bring in a few clouds for you, upper 60s. Now, the mountains, you had some winds this morning. Tomorrow morning, maybe a little gusty, but not like it was this morning. I'd say maybe 15 to 20, and then we'll calm it down in the afternoon with highs reaching 56 by Saturday, and then a slow climb there for the high desert with those temperatures, 64 by Saturday. Sunny skies, dry, pleasant, beautiful. I almost say that like disappointingly because we love some rain and snow, but, you know, this is where you call home and you say, hey, Boston, where I'm from, it's 78 in LA right now. We'll have more weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
Yeah.
An Orange County couple is trying to make their dream come true, a wedding celebration with all their friends and family.
However, their plans got derailed and now even more problems. Eyewitness News Orange County reporter Greg Lee explains.
Destiny and Nicholas Breska couldn't wait to get married. After a 2-year engagement full of planning for the ceremony, it was almost time.
We picked January 4th because that's when he said he loved me, and it meant a lot.
3 weeks before the big day, the couple received heartbreaking news. Doctors found a 4-ounce tumor inside Nicholas's brain. He needed surgery before it got any bigger.
Was it cancerous or what's going to happen to me and everything? It was very emotional.
Fearing the worst, they rallied their friends, found a 24-hour chapel, and got married that night. They still wanted their dream ceremony, but doctors told them Nick wouldn't be strong enough on January 4th. Destiny and her family began calling the venue the Garden Room in Garden Grove. She explained the situation and asked to push back the date. Destiny says a manager told her no and said the $3,600 deposit was non-refundable.
I was in tears, like, how can you do this? And still, the owner has not called.
We called the owner, Lisa Waddell. She said she has no comment. Last Tuesday, doctors successfully removed Nick's tumor. Now in recovery, he says he's blown away by the owner's lack of sympathy.
Just concerning knowing that there's people like that out there, that they really don't care. All they are money hungry.
The couple says they're planning their dream ceremony for December 13th of this year, their 1-year wedding anniversary. They're still looking for a venue. Reporting in Garden Grove, Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Up next, a major development in the Air Asia crash investigation.
Plus, why astronauts aboard the International Space Station had to scramble when an alarm sounded.
And drama in court today for Seventh Heaven actor Stephen Collins and his estranged wife. A major break in the search for wreckage and victims for the crash of AirAsia Flight 8501 off of Indonesia. Images from a remote-controlled underwater vehicle show the fuselage and a wing on the bed of the Java Sea. Now, so far, the bodies of only 50 people of the 162 people on board have been recovered. The plane's flight data recorder and cockpit flight recorder have been retrieved and will be the key to learning what caused the plane to crash. The plane was on its way from Singapore when it disappeared from radar on December 28th.
A scare aboard the International Space Station. Astronauts evacuated the American side of the orbiting craft after an alarm indicated a possible toxic leak. Astronauts moved to the Russian side of the station after the alarm. There was concern about ammonia coolant escaping into the station, but NASA said a computer problem likely set off the alarm.
Once inside the Russian segment, the crew members were allowed to remove their masks. We need to emphasize that there is no hard data to suggest that there was, in fact, a real ammonia leak.
Highly toxic liquid ammonia flows outside the space station to cool electronics. Flight controllers initially feared the ammonia had gotten into the water system running inside.
We're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30, including the latest on today's possible terror plot against the U.S. Capitol.
Plus an update on two climbers' amazing ascent to the top of Yosemite's El Capitan.
And a coyote attacks a mother and child and family pets in one local neighborhood. Tonight, the warning from wildlife officials.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
A top story at 7:30, an Ohio man under arrest suspected of plotting to attack the U.S. Capitol. I'm David Ono.
I'm Ellen Leva in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. 20-year-old Christopher Lee Cornell was taken into custody today at this gun range in Ohio after buying 2 M15 assault rifles and a huge stock of ammunition. Prosecutors say Cornell claimed to have ties to the Islamic State and had written about committing jihad online. He's been charged with attempting to kill officers and employees of the United States.
2 men are the first to free climb the near vertical face of El Capitan in Yosemite National Park. They reached the 3,000-foot summit around 3:30 this afternoon. Tommy Caldwell and Kevin Jorgensen started climbing 18 days ago using ropes and harnesses only to prevent a deadly fall. Now they're celebrating with proud friends and family, and this is considered the hardest rock to climb in the world.
Coyote attack in Orange County. A woman says it lunged at her and her infant. Neighbors believe it has killed 2 dogs on Ladera Ranch. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia talked to the owner of one of the dogs.
Residents in this Ladera Ranch neighborhood are keeping their kids closer and their dogs on shorter leashes. They say coyote attacks have been on the increase. 2 dogs have been killed in recent weeks. Kate Lines tells me her family dog was taken by coyotes last month.
Luckily for us, Santa brought a new dog to help ease these kids' pain, and we don't let her go outside at all without someone. We have 5 kids, 2 small toddlers, and they're not allowed outside anymore because, I mean, you see them in the daytime a couple days a week.
Flyers have been posted warning neighbors in this Terramore Village community to keep their small pets indoors after dark. However, residents say they've seen coyotes wander around in the middle of the day. Troyce Hargis Monroe is the neighborhood coordinator. He says residents have been told to be aware of their surroundings.
Keep an eye on your dog. Don't let them loose, be out on their own. I have not heard them attacking people or kids until recently, where they kind of confronted somebody.
People out for walks today were prepared just in case a coyote crosses their path.
Well, we got our bat here just in case we need it, and then I got a little more in the cart too, just in case I need it.
They're hungry and they want to eat, so I can't blame them. But I think the onus is on us to just be cautious and to be aware, and I think we can still share the space with them.
Residents say they've contacted animal control, and so have we. We're told right now it's not considered an emergency in dealing with the coyotes. So some residents told us this afternoon that they've already called Sacramento and contacted the Department of Fish and Game asking for help. Reporting from Ladera Ranch, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Still a lot of unanswered questions concerning a man found shot to death at a car in the 5200 block of Perkins Road in Oxnard. Police were dispatched to the area around 5:30 this morning after receiving a call about shots fired. They found a 24-year-old man suffering from gunshot wounds in the car and say he succumbed to his injuries. Police do not have any suspects in custody. No word on what led up to the shooting, but if you have any information on this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. LA County Sheriff Jim McDonald says violent and property crime rates continue to drop across the county. Sheriff McDonald says the number of homicides declined by 10.5% last year. McDonald says the number of murders has dropped to its lowest level since 1970. The county has also seen a nearly 5% drop in violent crimes. The sheriff says a number of factors are contributing to these falling crime rates.
But it really comes down as well to a great partnership with the community, communication, being able to work with other police agencies, other local entities, station crime analysis, being highly visible and proactive with our crime-fighting efforts.
Sheriff McDonald says while he's proud of the decrease in crime rates, the department still faces challenges to keep those rates down in the future.
A woman under arrest suspected of vandalizing a Buddhist temple in Santa Ana. Surveillance camera shows a woman throwing a bottle of alcohol at a statue of Buddha outside the Huyang Tik temple. Yesterday, a security guard at a Costa Mesa CVS recognized Tran Thu Tham from news reports and called police. Police responded and took her into custody. Investigators believe she had a personal issue with someone associated with the temple. And a court face-off today in the divorce proceedings of actor Stephen Collins and his estranged wife, Faye Grant. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Holguin tells us a taped confession by Collins that went public is playing a major role in the legal battle.
He was a successful TV star. She was a Hollywood heartthrob. But today, Stephen Collins and Faye Grant were in a downtown LA courtroom trying to dissolve their 26-year marriage.
I wish to address the yes part of the yes and no.
The ongoing divorce proceedings come 3 months after the release of a scandalous audio recording in which Collins allegedly admits to child molestation.
There were, I think, there were like 3 incidents over about 3 years.
Grant has denied leaking the recording to TMZ, but in court papers, Collins alleges that Grant caused financial harm to their estate by failing to safeguard the recording, accusing her of leaving a copy of the recording with the words Stephen Collins, predator, in a trash bag at the driveway of her house.
She has no information on how it got to the media, and they can't link that in any way, shape, or form. I think their pleadings prove absolutely the opposite. It proves that there was other people in possession of this alleged tape from the garbage.
Attorney Mark Vincent Kaplan represents Collins. He says the leaked recording of the private therapy session that went public in October has ruined his client's career, and as such, Grant does not deserve ongoing spousal support.
As a result of this recording having found its way into the public domain somehow, he has not been able to maintain or receive employment.
Kaplan also says that because his client is unable to find work, Grant's share of their multi-million-dollar estate should be reduced accordingly.
Love you too, kiddo.
Collins is best known for his role as a pastor in the TV show Seventh Heaven.
He would love to have the opportunity to return to being just an actor and not a point of sensational interest.
Faye Grant and her attorney did not want to answer questions from reporters today. Attorneys for both parties are due back in court next week. Reporting from downtown LA, Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
New developments in that ongoing billion-dollar divorce saga. As we reported earlier, Oklahoma fracking king Harold Hamm and his wife have split. He wrote her a check for almost $1 billion for the divorce settlement. She rejected it at first and then later cashed it. However, she is still fighting in court for a bigger share. Her lawyers say she helped Hamm build a $50 million company into a net worth of almost $20 billion. His lawyers say too late, checks cashed, and that means the case is closed.
Fun to see a check with that amount. My goodness.
I would go up to the cashier and hand that to her just to see the look on her face.
970, oh my goodness, million. How do you even write it on a check? Anyway, tonight a controversial plan to reduce the earthquake risk for thousands of older apartment buildings in Los Angeles. The question is, who would pay for the expensive retrofits? Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda tells us there should be a serious impact on landlords and tenants.
The Northridge quake caused widespread damage, and officials say the big one could be much worse.
We stand to lose hundreds of thousands of housing units. How do we keep our workforce in place if they don't have a place to live?
A big concern, so-called soft-story buildings built before 1978, those with parking underneath that could pancake in an earthquake. There are 16,000 of these buildings, and retrofitting is expected to cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
If you're willing to pay for this retrofitting, I'm all for it. I don't have the money, and I'm willing to go to jail.
Mandating the retrofit means landlords can pass the cost along to tenants in higher rents.
Folks are being put in the bind to decide whether they're going to continue to pay rent or they're going to move elsewhere.
We don't want to gouge our customer, the tenant, because we don't want to lose them.
James Clark from the Apartment Association of Los Angeles says most small rental owners can't afford these costs.
They've been living off the rents. And again, the money's in the building, not the bank. So they will have to get loans before they do these projects.
City Council members say they understand the dilemma, and they're trying to figure out ways so that owners can finance the repairs. That could include state money and property tax relief.
It's to give the property owners a tax incentive, a tax credit, if you will, off of their property tax bill if they show and they can prove they've done the retrofitting work.
Los Angeles isn't the only city with these buildings. Several council members are going to Sacramento next week to see if they can figure out a statewide solution to pay for these upgrades. Reporting from North Hollywood, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, good news for local beachgoers who enjoy their family fire rings.
Plus, wild video car crash surveillance cameras show you what happened when a driver didn't stop.
Warm weather today. We're in the 70s, but temperatures are only going up. Details in that 7-day forecast to grab.
A dangerous scene at a Sacramento car wash, renewing worry over age and driving. Tonight, an elderly man behind the wheel. Should he have been driving? ABC's Clayton Sandell with the warning signs you need to look for.
They see it coming but can't stop it. Employees at this Sacramento car wash helplessly chasing an elderly man at the wheel of a speeding, out-of-control car, jumping aside as he tears through, crashing on the other side. The man told witnesses he confused the brake and gas pedals. He walked away, but the video is raising a tough question for families of the 33 million seniors on the road today. When is it time to turn over the keys? 500 older adults are injured in crashes every day. AAA says preventing those injuries means watching for red flags. Look at the car for any unexplained dents and dings. Listen, are older drivers talking about having more near misses or that other drivers honk and complain? And pay special attention when a driver starts any new medication.
Don't talk to your parents for the first time when you're thinking about taking away the keys. Older drivers tell us that the one person they don't want to talk to about their driving is the police.
No one was hurt at the car wash, but tonight it's a cautionary tale for older drivers who want their independence and families who want to keep them safe. Clayton Sandell, ABC News, Denver.
Good news for anyone who likes having a bonfire on the beach. The Newport Beach City Council has voted to move forward with a plan seeking to preserve fire rings on the beach. Yesterday, the council approved an interim plan that returns at least 15 wood-burning fire rings to Corona Del Mar State Beach and a part of Balboa Pier. They also approved a permanent plan to eventually return all 60 beach fire pits to wood fuel instead of charcoal. And that plan will require a permit from the California Coastal Commission.
Changes coming up in our weather. Jonathan Novak has his complete forecast up next.
Plus in sports, he was once known as the NBA's top closer, but not last night and not this season. The struggles of Kobe Bryant continue.
And a girls' high school basketball team is defeated by a score of 161-2. Is that poor sportsmanship or just life? Incredible photo from NASA of the first major solar flare of the new year was snapped late Monday night by the agency's Solar Dynamics Observatory. Solar flares are powerful bursts of particles and radiation. Now, if you're wondering, there is no danger here on Earth. That radiation is blocked by our planet's atmosphere and magnetosphere. #science.
They didn't soak up all our cool weather and
no, it didn't.
wet weather.
It did have one effect right here, at my hair.
Your hair.
Lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun.
Really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't
there
know
you go.
that.
And no, it did not take away it brought us the warm, the sun brings us the warm weather. It was warm today, 74 in downtown Los Angeles, 73 in downtown Los Angeles. Tomorrow's going to be even warmer, and then the weekend is going to approach 80 degrees. Wow. Burbank, it's kind of cool, huh? You see the clear skies over the horizon. The sun was setting, and I love that. If traffic only moved that fast, we would all have it would be much easier. 61 right now in Burbank, light winds. The winds were a little bit of an issue in the mountains today and some portions of the valleys, but not a huge problem. And then they subsided, and tomorrow there'll be a little breezy in the mountains, but really not a problem. It's just going to be good stuff. Long Beach is on the cool side of things, 58. 33 Wrightwood, a little chilly in Big Bear, of course, 28, and then temperatures in downtown are at 60, which is about average. We're going to be a little bit above average tonight, and then tomorrow we're starting to warm up because high pressure keeping us warm throughout the extended forecast. You'll see here in a second, it's not going to be moving much, and that means the temperatures are either going to be staying the same for a day or two and then start to warm up through the weekend. The future scan shows this is a ridge of high pressure. That's what's keeping us warm. Go through tomorrow. It's still there. You head through Friday and into Saturday and Sunday. Still there with a weak offshore flow. Temperatures climbing to near 80 degrees as we head through into Sunday, which will be the warmest day for most of us at least. For tomorrow, even warmer than today by a couple of degrees. Throw up 75 there in Los Angeles and 74 Pasadena, lower 60s at the Antelope Valley, and 71 in Riverside. 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. If you like the warm weather and the sun, I've got plenty of it for you. No rain, no snow, no clouds really until next week. No clouds, I should say. No rain, no snow at all. 77 by Sunday, though. It's the warmest day of the forecast, and it's a slow and steady rise until then. Valleys, IE, look at the weekend. We're in the mid-70s for a few days, and then 78 to 80 on Sunday. Hardly a cloud. And next week, we'll bring in a few clouds and cool it down a little, but still above average. That's probably a good phrase for this forecast. Temperatures are going to be above average and plenty of sunshine. The beach looking good, lower 70s throughout the entire forecast until next Tuesday, Wednesday. No rain next Tuesday, Wednesday, just cooling it down, bring a few clouds. Mountains, a little breezy in the morning, not like it was this morning if you had some gusts kicking in. It won't be that windy, but maybe 15 to 20 in the morning, and then those should subside. Temperatures reaching the lower 50s to mid-50s by Friday and Saturday, and plenty of sun to go around. The high desert U as well will have a little bit of a breeze in the morning. Temperatures above average, lower to mid-60s, that entire forecast. You know, we need rain. It's not in this go-around. In fact, it doesn't look like maybe for 10 days now have any chance of any system even showing signs of bringing rain. So in the meantime, warm stuff, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
The Cavaliers are in Los Angeles right now. They'll play the Lakers tomorrow night at Staples Center and the Clippers on Friday night. They'll try to complete a two-game LA sweep like LeBron's old team did last night. Kurt Sandoval reports the Lakers' disappointing loss to the Miami Heat.
Nothing says struggle like an 18-0 deficit to start a game.
Not to bash our guards, but, if we just try a little harder to, keep the guards out of the paint.
Hill is thrilled he's still probable to step on the court against Cleveland tomorrow after hyperextending his knee.
Pretty scary. Yeah, it was.
Then there's Nick Young. In a slump the size of El Segundo, he's shooting just 28% in 2015, but at least he hasn't lost his confidence off the court.
Like I've been saying from the beginning, I'm a star in the making, Still believe that, I had a couple of, bad days, but I'm going to be all right.
Kobe is clearly the face of the franchise and one of the greatest closers in the history of the game. Missing that game-tying shot last night does not mean his career is over, but it is symbolic that the end is near.
I don't think it's going to mess with his legacy whatsoever. I mean, his legacy is set, but I think from a physical standpoint and from a mental standpoint, like I said, he wants to play.
Closing is no longer Kobe's calling card. In games decided by 5 points or less this year, he's 3 of 27. That's 11%.
When he agrees to say, all right, coach, I'm going to let you decide, that still is not easy for him. because he wants to be out there with his teammates. So it's hard on him physically as well as mentally.
We're watching the closing of a Hall of Fame career. Kurt Sandoval, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And believe it or not, NASCAR superstar Jeff Gordon was racing at an NBA game last night. That's right. He competed between periods of the Spurs-Wizards game in Washington, but he wasn't driving a car. I think he's been practicing. As you would expect, Gordon went off and left a clearly overmatched fan, but at the end of the race, he slowed down. But no, he didn't let the fan win. He crossed the finish line first. Once a competitor, always a competitor. At least he didn't bump the guy off the course, but still.
Yeah, I should let him win. All right. We all can't be Olympic stars, but we can certainly learn from them. That's the goal of a school program called Ready, Set, Gold. Valerie Briscoe-Hooks won 3 gold medals at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Today she was inspiring students at Castellar Elementary School, encouraging them to maintain a healthy lifestyle through physical activity and good nutrition. The program is sponsored by the Southern California Olympic Committee, the LAUSD, and Samsung. Controversy is brewing over a local high school basketball game. The game was a blowout, which may actually be an understatement. Now there are questions about sportsmanship. And Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the story.
The Royal Valley High School girls basketball team is off to a great start this year, outscoring their opponents by about 56 points per game. But what about beating Bloomington High School by a score of 161-2?
Oh my goodness, it's really bad. It kind of is a lot.
To be fair, the score wasn't exactly a surprise. Bloomington High hasn't won a game this year, but some parents say this score is going too far.
They should have let in second string and third string players, I believe, possibly.
And what if they did?
And then, you know what, they should just tell me, take it easy, and it's for the love of the game,
The basketball team from Arroyo Valley is a very strong team, and they did take steps to pull back.
A spokesperson from Arroyo Valley High could not say whether the team's coach would be disciplined, but school officials are reaching out to one another.
There is a meeting that has been scheduled with the principal. We've also asked that coaches participate as well, just to make sure there are no hard feelings and kind of extend an olive branch and just to move forward and use it as a learning opportunity.
Officials at Bloomington High School would not go on camera, but a district spokesperson did give us this statement, quote, "We need for the girls to move on and focus on something else. It's not constructive for us to make this an ongoing public dialogue." Of course, some Bloomington parents we spoke with told us, if you don't want to get beat so badly,
maybe they should just practice a little bit more.
In Bloomington, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And more news straight ahead here at 7:30.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Body cameras on LAPD officers will be the topic of discussion tonight at a community meeting. Cameras will record every interaction with the public, so why are some people upset about it? Plus, a day at the salon turns into a nightmare for some ladies when 2 gunmen enter shooting. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Hollywood's biggest night is coming up on February 22nd, and we are getting our first look at this year's poster for the 87th Oscars with host Neil Patrick Harris. This is the award-winning actor's first time hosting the ceremony.
Before those awards can be handed out, the nominations have to be announced, and that'll happen tomorrow. So wake up with Oscar. Our nominations will be announced beginning at 5:30 a.m. on KABC. Our entertainment guru George Pinocchio will be there, and we'll have live coverage of all the announcements and reaction on ABC7 Eyewitness News. Big day.
An exciting morning.
Yeah, really
hearing all the nominees. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
Remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by downloading our ABC7 app. We'll see you at 11 o'clock.
Good night.